Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Final Fantasy II, where last time we escaped from the unknown cave, the passageway to hell, and we're now in the town of Machanan. So, if you've missed an episode or two, we're now playing through the Soul of Rebirth bonus content that unlocks after you complete the main story in the PSP and Game Boy Advance versions of Final Fantasy II. So, I've never played this before, so I don't know what to expect, other than, judging by last week, the fact that it's going to be really bloody difficult. But anyway, here we are. I'm charged with patrolling this area. The city is not safe, so we must remain vigilant. Alright. Anything in these barrels? No. I wonder if Princess Hilda is alright. I'm worried, but there's nothing I can really do. It's because you're dead. Everybody's dead here. Afterlife or not, this is our home. Ain't no way we're letting even one of those beasties in. The monsters got a lot of us before we finally made it here.
We lose so many to the monsters. I've survived so far, but what good can these old bones do?
Gives me hope to see people like you here.
The monsters around here are unlike any I've ever seen. Keep your guard up. What are we doing in a place like this? We're supposed to be dead.
I get to be his underling even in the afterlife. Talk about lucky. Sid, what are you doing here? No one's more surprised than me. Who'd have thought there'd really be an afterlife? And to top it off, everyone here died fighting the Empire. How do you like that? I gave up the life of a white knight for the lure of the skies, and here I am. Never thought I'd wind up in hell for it, but... Anyway you slice it, this place is different than any story I ever heard about Jade. Don't think this is Jade. If this is the entrance to hell, what are innocent little kids doing here? When I first got here, this place was just how you'd picture hell. Monsters fed on anyone they could catch, the old, children, you name it. By the time we found a place without monsters to build this makeshift town, most of the people were already done in. Terrible. Since you all showed up, people have started to show some hope. It's funny to think of the dead having hope, but there it is. As long as I'm defending this village, I'll help you any way I can. So I'm asking you, find out what in blazes is going on. Where are we? And what are we doing here? Well, there's our quest then. I'm dying for a drink. Get it? Dying? 'Cause they're all dead. In! Oh, yes, please. Yes. Yes, for the love of God, yes. I most certainly will rest and restore all of my hit points and magic points after that nonsense last episode. I can't promise there will be no nonsense today, but at least we have somewhere to come back to now. Why are we in this hellish place? I don't know, looks alright to me. Oh, crap gear. Slightly less crap gear. Much less crap gear. Right, let's get one of them for Joseph. And one of those for Joseph. And one of these for Joseph. Yep. And yep. And all the yes. Right, what else can we get? I guess that'll be useful for the other two as well. We're getting the helm at least. And sell some gubbins. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Because I had more than one of them. Don't need those anymore. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. We'll keep those just in case. Alright. It's getting things looking a little bit better. Right. Now maybe a few consumables as well are in order. We've got some spells here as well. Some spells would be nice. Magic shop. No magic shop there. That's an armor shop. There's the magic shop. Alright, what do you got? Blink, Protect, Shell, Basuna. I mean, we've got all those already. Cure, Fire, Thunder, Blizzard. Got all those already. Basuna, Life, Sap, Mini. None of those are especially super useful. So Scott's got Berserk and Aura. We could do with building up some money to get him haste as well. You'll find my finest creations here. You're in the market for weapons, give them a try. No, that's a load of old shit. Also a load of old shit. All pretty shit, to be honest. Power stuff. We want the one that improves their intelligence, really, but I suspect that's not going to be one we can just buy. So let's give this to Minwu. That at least gives him some attack power. Scott can stick with his sword for the minute. Because I don't think we can afford anything better. No, that'll have to do for now. Alright, consumables. Alright, so they sell ethers. And potions. Right, let's just buy a few of these. So that will keep us going a little bit longer in the dungeons. Right. So, now to figure out what to do next. So that portal leads us back to where we just came from. So we can go back there if necessary to go and purchase those other spells we didn't get. Or to just do some grinding. That might be necessary. Not sure where this one goes yet, so let's save. And then we'll take a look. This warp gate just appeared out of nowhere. The other side is all crawling with hideous monsters. Stay away if you know what's good for you. Why, I think I'll wander right in. A palace. This must be Pandemonium, Palace of the Lord of Hell. This doesn't fill me with confidence. Not awful. Not ideal. Oh, definitely not ideal. We're going to have to do some work with Joseph, I think. Right. Well, let's just work our way through a bit at a time then. Let's start with some fire on them. Nope, not fire. Coming in here might have been a mistake. Right, cure Joseph, if you please, and let's try some blizzard. You can punch him, you can stab him. I've been in better situations. I won't lie. Ricard is happily taking a few for the team right now. You kill all but one of them, Ricard, and then get the others up. They should all get a nice bit of progression. In theory. Right, Phoenix down on Minwoo. And Minwoo can life on everybody else. Apparently, I discovered, doing a bit of research the other day, there is a novelization of Final Fantasy II, in Japan only, I believe. But in it gives a bit of background as to how the Emperor became the Lord of Hell and so on. And yeah, he basically kicked the shit out of literal Satan. So, there you go. That is what happened. Well, that's not very good, is it? Oh, don't kill all of them again. I just got them up. Alright, this should do it. Oh, that will probably kill Joseph, won't it? Because of course it will. Well, 3 out of 4 isn't bad. Ooh, stuff though. I am going to leave hastily though. Right, so we have some grinding to do then, I guess. There we are. Joseph, back from the dead to be dead once more. Time for a little sleep, I think. That's a lot of money, but then we did take a lot of damage. So, I guess we're going to have to go back into that first dungeon. Level up a fair amount on the enemies that are in there. And try and get ourselves into a better position. Right, so prepare for some grinding, I guess. I'll try and find some things to talk about while we're doing that. It's just wander back and forth around here. In fact, let's head towards where that shop was. Alright, attack, fire, punch, stab. You still get a lot of money for each fight. That's one slight benefit of these incredibly difficult fights. Right. Minwoo, you can train your Blink. You can give that to Joseph, because he's by far the worst at this point. Joseph can get berserked. And Ricard can just stab things. Missed. That's no good, is it? I mean, to be fair, Joseph's attack power is pretty good. It's just everything else about him sucks at the minute. We need to get Scott a staff so his spells are more accurate. The swords aren't too bad. You can definitely play a sort of red mage build in this, but if you're going to be using magic, you may as well try and ensure that your spells actually land. Definitely do nicely with those fire spells though, that's good. Okay, a bit more blinking for Scott this time. And the fire, you're probably going to get that off before anyone else does anything else, aren't you? Yes, very good. We're doing on money. Nearly 10,000. We need 20,000 for haste, I think. Well, Joseph taking 0 damage from stuff is a good sign. Nice hit, Ricard. You may as well get training on these. Give him a bit of aura. Or Ricard can stab. Nice. All right. Now we are cooking. We're making marginally better amounts of progress than we had before, certainly. Alright, you cure. You berserk. You attack. And you attack. Ow! 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 No! Ah! So annoying. Get up. I should bloody think Minwoo's hit points increased. Alright. Seem to be progressing reasonably quickly in this. Which is good. Because otherwise getting characters from sort of early game states to effectively end game states would take a very long time and be quite tedious. And surely they must have known that some people would not have leveled these characters at all. For exactly the reasons I didn't. I knew they were going to die. It's nice to have some pudding enemies that don't require you to use magic attacks as well. Come on, Joseph, punch him. Lovely. What are these weak against? Let's try fire. Not fire! Yeah, weak against punching and stabbing. And his spirit went up to 17,000 gil already. We're going to afford those spells in no time. Alright, feeling more positive. You guys, eh? Oh, Scott's nearly at 1,000 hit points as well. Minwoo's are going to be going up soon as well, I suspect. You can blink yourself. You can fire. You can punch. And you can stab. You know, I could put Scott and Minwoo in the back row, but I don't really like using the back row in this because it means they don't get attacked by physical attacks at all, and that means they don't get much opportunity to increase their hit points, evasion, stamina, all that sort of thing. Yes, it does mean that they are very squishy and very vulnerable. But that's something you just have to deal with, really. Alright, so I'm going to say our quest for today is to purchase all of the spells that are available from the guy under the waterfall. And I think there's two that cost 20,000. Yes, Haste and Holy, which is 20,000 each. And then there's Flare, which is 40,000, which is going to be worth getting for Scott. So we're nearly at our first target already, which is good. Alright, you just absorb all magic, do you? How are you dead already? Don't do that. Please don't do that. Have they got an instant death spell or something? They certainly seem to. I thought Minwoo had a protect ring anyway that would well, prevent instant death attacks. But apparently not. You were weak against thunder, weren't you? Lots of progression. Still not quite 20,000 though. Alright, cure. Scott now over 1,000 hit points, that's good. Minwu fast running out of magic points though. Gluggle them down. Actually, blink yourself first. Okay, all fine. Are we up to 20 yet? Still not 20 yet. Come on, stop giving me these pathetic foes and give me something that gives me 3,000 when I kill them. You can berserk Joseph this time. One thing you can actually do in the main game, but obviously this requires a lot of forward planning, is that the arcane labyrinth that we did in the last few episodes before we started this Soul of Rebirth stuff, you can actually go and get ultimate weapons for all of you guys, I think, except Scott, obviously, because Scott isn't playable in the main story. But like as early as having Joseph, which is very early in the game, as you may recall, you can go and get Joseph's ultimate weapon. And if you leave him with that ultimate weapon, when you start this mode, he will have that ultimate weapon. But I did not plan ahead, as I perhaps should have done. But, well, we're here now, so we're just going to have to deal with it. I believe there's some other way to get the ultimate weapons in this mode as well. Like they're just in treasure chests or something somewhere. 20,000. Right. Let's get Holy first, actually. That gives Minwu something to do other than buffs. What? Oh, you're full! Right, what is a bit shit? Fear's a bit crap. Let's discard that one. And have Holy. Lovely. Right. Now I'm going to wander all the way back to town so we can go and have a rest and stock up and stuff. And then repeat that whole hideous process. No fights on that floor at all. What is this madness? This is the madness. Ow! Blink! And fire, and punch, and stab. The difficulty is already starting to ease a little bit. Just have it... Why is he dead again? He would have to die just as I said that as well, wouldn't he? Yeah, I was going to say, the difficulty is starting to ease just a little bit. Just having 4 people in the party, one of whom has over 2,000 hit points, is a big help. Joseph and Minwu are the real problem at the minute. Minwu's magic is very good, but he's so vulnerable right now. Alright, you get cracking on your Holy. If you get a chance to cast it, that is, of course. maybe another time. Well, it's a start, and it did kill the thing, so, you know, could have been worse. Alright, you. I have a bone to pick with you. But I'm going to blink myself first, and then berserk Joseph, and then punch you in the face. That's it. You just punch Ricard. That's fine. Because he can one-shot you. 3,000 gil. Lovely. Level up for Berserk as well. Already up to 5,000 gil again. I find that grinding, in general, in games, is much more sort of palatable and reasonable if you set yourself targets. It's like just grinding for the sake of it is I mean, I don't mind it personally, but a lot of people find it very tedious and boring. Understandably so, because it's just repeating the same thing over and over again. But if you set yourself some sort of target, give yourself your own little sort of mini quest to do like I've done here, then it makes the process feel like it's got a bit more of a direction. It's got an end goal for it. You've got something to strive for. And I've always found that to be the best way to approach this sort of thing. Not just in Final Fantasy, in any game that involves sort of earning experience points or all that sort of thing. Or grinding out stats like we're doing here. Right. Sweet escape once again. And have a quick nap. Now, I've mentioned on a few separate occasions how the early Final Fantasies here have almost more of a resemblance to sort of what we now know as dungeon crawlers than... I'm just going to put a cushion behind myself because my back's aching a bit. Yeah, they have a bit more of a resemblance to what we now know as dungeon crawlers than what we now tend to think of as story-centric role-playing games. And I think this scenario here is a great example of this. So it's got an interesting narrative setup and everything, but the majority of what you're going to be doing is mechanics and progression. Which isn't to everyone's taste, of course. Just as grinding isn't, but it's an important part of Final Fantasy as a whole. I can't remember if I've talked about my sort of observation for the series as a whole at all, but if you look at the first 6 games in the Final Fantasy series in particular, you'll notice a pattern. You'll notice that they alternate with every installment. Specifically, they alternate between being mechanic-centric and narrative-centric, at least for their main story. So what we had in Final Fantasy 1 is we have a game that doesn't really emphasize its narrative, but it does have solid mechanics. And in this game, yes, this does have solid, interesting mechanics, but the emphasis for the main part of the game is on the unfolding narrative. Now, obviously, that's been inverted a little bit for this scenario that we're doing here, but for the main game, that's certainly true, and always was back in the Famicom version as well. when we get to Final Fantasy 3, when we're done here, you'll find it's back the other way again. You'll find that Final Fantasy 3 is mechanic-centric. It does have a narrative, but the actual sort of progression system and the introduction of the job system in Final Fantasy 3 are the most important things about that game. Then when we get to Final Fantasy 4, that's very much a story-centric game where you have fixed characters who learn things at specific levels, and you've got really very little customization over them in that game. Final Fantasy 5 is an evolution of Final Fantasy 3's job system, so probably the most customizable one in the series, and as someone mentioned in the comments recently, I forget who, I apologise, as someone mentioned in the comments recently, Final Fantasy 5 is the closest the series has got to being a dungeon crawler. A mechanic-centric role-playing game in which the majority of the experience is all about improving your characters and progressing and playing with mechanics and all that sort of thing. And then Final Fantasy VI, again, we're back to narrative-centric. Now that pattern sort of went away with the release of Final Fantasy VII, because all of the PlayStation 1 Final Fantasies were very narrative-centric, as was Final Fantasy X on PlayStation 2. Final Fantasy XI, which is the MMO installment, was very mechanic-centric, because MMOs tend to be. Final Fantasy XII was kind of a bit of a middle ground, really. I would probably argue that it airs on the mechanic-centric side again. 13, probably narrative-centric, but there's a lot of interesting mechanics that people don't talk about in that game. 14, bit of both. Because again, it's an MMO, but it's probably the most narrative-heavy MMO that I've ever played. And then 15, probably narrative-centric, I'd say. So yeah, like I said, the pattern that I've observed is only really sort of applicable to the first 6. But it's definitely something that the series flip-flops back and forth a bit on as time goes on. And if you've read my article on MarioGamer.net that I wrote back around when Final Fantasy 15 was first released, you'll note that even amid all that, Final Fantasy is a series of constant reinvention. It was either the producer or the director of World of Final Fantasy who said the rather excellent quote, which was, "If it's not new, it's not Final Fantasy," and that's absolutely true. So, like, while there may be superficial resemblances between these 2D installments in particular, so like the battle screen presentation is very similar, but that doesn't mean that the mechanics are the same or the focus of the game as a whole is the same. Every Final Fantasy has reinvented itself from the previous one in some way or another. And it's just fascinating to see over time. But anyway, yes. We are currently balls deep in mechanics, as they say. Don't know who they is. As I say, I choose to say balls deep in mechanics. Because why not? Right. Yeah, these fights are much less of a chore already. Which is a good thing. Joseph are getting much more able to take some hits as well, which is good. And he's definitely dishing out a decent amount of damage with his fists, which is good. He's basically a monk. Minwu, we need to train his holy, don't we? Yeah. So, Scott, you can also berserk Ricard. Just for the hell of it. Very nice. Yeah, I'm glad Ricard's agility is low enough that he's not going first, otherwise he would basically prevent everyone else from progressing by just demolishing everything. Oh, these fuckers. Right. You can blink yourself. You can berserk some more. That's good to have trained up. And you two can punch and stab. Then you can holy. And berserk. Missed. Sort it out, Scott. Right, and we're doing on money. 15,000. Alright, we're nearly there for another one of the spells then. It's going to be flared. It's going to be the tough one to get. Right. Holy. On you. And berserk. And punch. And stab. Yeah, everyone getting pretty good with those shields as well. That's helpful. It's like successfully blocking stuff and avoiding things helps to add to agility, which means that they're more likely to go first in combat, which is very useful, as you can already no doubt see. Alright, holy it up. Berserk. And punch. And stab. No, 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 Joseph. No, no, no. That is not what we do around here. 80 damage. Good work, Minwoo. Thunder. And attack. Alright, well, Joseph, you can just do your thing. Ready? Magic. Life. Is there anything in these? No, there is not. Not even any treasure chests. That is just rude. Alright, blink. And berserk. And punch. And stab. Ow. Okay, well, Minwoo can sit this one out then. There's nothing ever easy. Alright. What do we say? Haste. Haste for you, Scott. Alright, now all the way back to town again. Fire. Punch, stab. Yeah, it's getting noticeably easier, but there's still plenty of danger. So I think probably a good indicator of when it might be time to move on would be everyone's hit points over 1,000 at least. Because by the time that happens, Minwoo should be well over 1,000. Scott will definitely be well over 1,000 because he's already there. And Joseph will have a bit more survivability, so... Well, we'll just have to see how long that takes, I guess. They are gaining levels in all their stats pretty quickly, though. I don't know if leveling is accelerated in this mode or not. I feel like I'm leveling up quickly, but that might just be because a lot of them are fighting stuff that's... Oh, excuse me, hiccups. A lot of them are fighting stuff that's kind of too strong for them. But then that's sort of tempered slightly by Ricard being there and being able to demolish pretty much everything in this place pretty easily. So, I mean, ideally, we want everyone at Ricard's level. But that will take a long time. I'm missing Maria, though. Very much. Bit of holy training. You can fire. You can punch. You can stab. Don't need to think about Joseph and Ricard's actions at this point. They just punch and stab. That is what they're there for. And they seem to be fine with it. So I'm fine with it too. Holy, holy, holy. Berserk, because why not? You've already got Berserk up to level 5, which makes me feel like spells are leveling more quickly than they are in the main game, but I'm not sure. I have no real sort of frame of comparison. I'm certainly not complaining if they are accelerated. Holy. Berserk. Next door's dog is going berserk. I don't know if you can hear that on the recording, but if you can, I apologise on behalf of my neighbour's dog, who has a lot to say at the moment. Joseph's hit points increased. Very slightly. Oh, she hits really hard. Ow! Alright, Scott. We'll be back for you. We'll be back for you, don't worry. It's all fine. It's all fine. Everything's going to be fine. Just you rest now. Close your eyes. Just sleep. Just rest. Right. Now they can all sleep. Morning, me again. Gosh, you look like shit. Yes, we feel like shit. Don't you worry, lady. But it's okay. We're dead. Which logical reasoning would suggest that we shouldn't be able to get a game over in this mode, but we can. We can find a way to die permanently. Back, I guess. So we're taking aim for 40,000 gil now. We're nearly halfway there already, so this shouldn't be too bad. Okay. And then, of course, we're going to have to train up Flare. But that's okay. We're still struggling a bit with that holy spell, but he'll get there. He'll get there. So yes, the other thing you can do, I was talking about stuff you can carry over from the main game into this mode. The other thing you can do is that when you get ultimate, you can give it to one of these guys. I think the only person you can give it to is Ricard. But yeah, basically you can have Ricard with ultimate if you want to. I have a feeling that you can get ultimate elsewhere in this mode somewhere. Not sure where offhand, but I think you can. But as we've established, it's not necessarily super useful. Although Minwu might be quite good at casting it, because he comes with a lot of his spells pretty well leveled already, so I don't know, he might be quite good at it, but it's certainly not a priority for me right now. Come on, that spell's got to be due a level up by now. You can Berserk Ricard. Holy level up. Nice. How's everyone's stats doing, out of curiosity? Minu's up to 59 spirit, that's pretty good. Scott's up to 35 intelligence. Joseph is 46 strength, not bad at all. And Ricard is 66 strength. Scott's agility is only 39, which is not that much higher than Ricard, actually. That's interesting. But he's still fairly reliably going first. Except in situations like this, of course. Alright, eat level 3, Holy. But it's all new animation and twice the damage. Yeah, Joseph's definitely getting the hang of things now, but he still needs some more hit points. He still needs some more hit points, he does. Minwu could do with some more hit points as well, that'd be lovely. I'm just going to leave him lying on the floor there for a bit. Not lying on the floor, kneeling. Kneeling in reverence. You keep holying. You've got work to do. You have training. Oh, let's train haste as well while we're on. Go, Joseph, go! Ow. Oh, not enough to kill him. That's good. Why did Minru's hit points not go up? Some more berserk for you, Joseph. Minru can just be stunned instead of doing anything useful. And then get drowned. Scott's intelligence seems to be going up quite rapidly. That's good. You can make him into the new Maria. Ow! God fucking damn it, Minru. Oh, for... Ooh! Yeah, so we still have a ways to go yet, I would say. Minru's hit points increased. At last. Right. Magic. Life. Life. Cure. Cure everybody a little bit. Or a lot. That will do too. These fuckers. Oh no, they're going to steal all his magic points. We got any ethers? I want elixir. Not the end of the world. Let's thunder them. Minru's nearly at 1,000 hit points. That's a good start. Joseph's up over 700 now as well. They're making good progress. Very slowly. Oh, Minru has lost all his magic points now. Hooray for Minru. Berserk, because why not? Actually, not a bad hit with that staff. That's what you get for a staff made for striking. Alright, everyone's suffering a bit. I could go back. I think going back might be a good idea. As we haven't got enough money to afford flare yet, so... May as well go back, rest up, restock, all that good stuff. Minru, you just hit him. You do thunder, you punch, you stab. I don't like these people. You can just defend, because otherwise they'll kill you. You can't afford to do anything, so you can just hack and slash and everybody attack. Oh, she's really weak. Okay. Alright, things definitely feeling a lot more manageable now. Everybody punch. Alright. We got a decent little team going at last. Good job, mages. Good job as well, Ricard, but that goes without saying at this point. Oh, down in one turn. Beautiful. Alright, time for another rest. Nearly 30,000 gil, so we just need 10,000 more. That's only 3 of the giants. 4 of the giants. Because I give you like 3,000 each. Watch us not encounter any of them ever again now. Right, onward! That will teach me to go into the wrong square. Holy. And... berserk. And punch and stab. Still a bit weedy, Minru. Not gonna lie. Still a bit weedy. We'll get you trained up yet. Don't you worry. Having this experience here is making me think about Persona 3 FES on PlayStation 2. If you're not familiar with that, that was the second release of Persona 3. There were 3 altogether. There was Persona 3, the original. Then there was Persona 3 FES, which included expanded content in the main game, and plus this extra bit at the end called The Answer. And then there was Persona 3 Portable, which I actually still haven't played yet. FES, like I say, had this additional sort of post-game section called The Answer, which was... I mean, it's been a long time since I played it, but when I did play it, I interpreted it as being the dungeon crawling gameplay of Persona 3 with all of the things that made Persona unique taken out of it. So it didn't have any of the like social links, none of the like developing your social stats and that sort of thing. And I kind of didn't enjoy it as a result. But so we're going through this now, and I'm actually quite enjoying this sort of gradual progression that we've got going on here, even though it's just fighting the same dudes over and over again. It's kind of making me wonder if I should revisit that and give it another chance. I did finish it. But I came away from it kind of a bit soured on it. But that was a long time ago that I played it. And I'd say I've learned a lot more about role-playing games ever since then. A lot more about mechanics and game structure and game design and that sort of thing. So I think it would be interesting to take another look at that at some point. I know I'm not planning on doing that anytime soon because I've got plenty on my plate at the minute. But it's something to consider for the future, definitely. Yeah, so over on MarioGamer.net at the moment, if you don't check in on there very often, I'm currently running a mega feature on the Atelier series, and the that style of coverage seems to be going quite well. Like, I can do other stuff alongside it, but then having a long-term project of looking at a whole series like that seems to be working really nicely. So I'm going to be following that format a lot more in the future. And I think there's definitely scope for looking at things like the Persona series in that way. Because Persona 1 and 2 I certainly haven't spent very much time with at all. I have played both of them, but not very much. Persona 3 I'm pretty well versed in. Persona 4 I haven't played the Golden through as yet. And Persona 5 I've played the original but not the Royal, so at some point I think that's probably something that's going to be worth covering. Because there's a lot of very interesting things to talk about in those games. From a design perspective, from a narrative perspective, from a mechanical perspective. All sorts of interesting and cool things going on there. And again, a series that has sort of evolved and reinvented itself over time. But yeah, having developed much more of a taste for dungeon crawlers in general since I played the Persona games for the first time, I'm now much more open to mechanic-centric RPGs and not necessarily ones that put the narrative front and centre. I still don't like open world, freeform, what we think of as Western RPGs. I still don't like that at all. I find it boring and unimmersive, and I just feel no sense of attachment to the world. And I don't think that's going to change at this point. I do like the Japanese approach to that sort of subgenre, so like I really, really, really like the Xenoblade games. But like Elder Scrolls games, Fallout, all that sort of thing, no, I do not like those games at all. And like I say, it's all because I don't feel any sort of attachment to the characters or the setting. The reason I think that this scenario here is working for me is because I've had time to get to know these characters previously. I know their narrative context. I know who they are. I know their importance to the overall plot and lore of Final Fantasy II. And so having an opportunity to experiment with them as a new party of characters from a mechanical perspective is pretty interesting to me. Whereas you give me generic, silent, blank slate protagonist from Skyrim, and I just don't care. And I don't care about the characters in those games either, because 90% of the people you talk to in Elder Scrolls games are just so bland and uninteresting. What does that do? That's strange. Yeah, I'm just pressing the right shoulder button there, and it says Scott, and I don't know why. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I think for me, narrative is important. I think context is probably the most important thing for me. So like narrative is part of that, but that also means like good world building and interesting characters and places that are interesting and fun to explore. Flare. Scott. There we go. Done. Fantastic. Quest complete. And that's something that Final Fantasy has always been good at. Like, even in these early installments, the worlds are interesting to explore because there's lots of sort of different things to discover and different peoples to hang out with and different towns to visit and new shops to buy stuff from and new weapons to find and all that sort of thing. But because you've got that layer of narrative on top of it as well, you have that sense of context. It's not just getting to the next place to see the next weapon shop or whatever. It's getting to the next place because that's where someone you know told you to go to. Or that's where someone's grandpa came from, or that's the town you're trying to liberate from the evil empire or something like that. Like that sense of meaning is really important to me. They're like, right now I'm enjoying wondering whether these guys really are in hell, what their purpose is, and what the sort of eventual conclusion of all this is going to be, and how it ties in with the main story of Final Fantasy II. Alright, Minryu's starting to do more respectable damage with Holy now. It's hit level 4. Scott is doing pretty pathetic damage with Flare at the minute, but that's going to go up as his intelligence and the spell level goes up. So we'll concentrate on him leveling Flare now, I think. Since he gets to go first, he will always get to cast it in most cases. Everyone else will get a chance to train as well. Everybody wins. Yeah, we haven't quite got Joseph to his over 1,000 hit points yet, but he's getting there slowly. He's getting there. Minwu's nearly there, which is good. Scott's comfortably over 1,000 now, which is nice. I think once again we've got a situation where our black mage is tougher than everyone else in the party. Apart from Ricard, obviously. Ricard is just his own thing at this point. Minwu leveled up everything. Scott leveled up Flare already. Excellent. Yeah. I won't lie, I was a bit worried in that first episode that this was going to be literally impossible to get through. But I'm already feeling much more confident that things are going to go well. So yeah, if you take the time to prepare in the main story of Final Fantasy II, you can have a much smoother ride at the beginning of this. But even if you're in a situation like I was, as we've seen, you can get through it without too much trouble. So, yeah, now you know. If you're planning on playing this for yourself, now you know. Ow! God, she's really weak. But she just does astronomical amounts of damage. That's okay. Holy level up again. Lovely stuff. Getting some really good progression now. But I think once we've rested in town, we will call it a day for today. I know we've not achieved anything in narrative terms today, but we've accomplished a lot in mechanical terms. Minwu's over 1,000 hit points now, which is what I wanted. Joseph is much less of a liability than he was. And we've got all of those good spells I wanted. So this has been a very productive episode. Like I say, I don't know how long this sequence is going to go on for. As far as narrative content goes, I don't think there's very much in Soul of Rebirth. I believe there may in fact just be these 2 dungeons. Because I can't see anywhere else that we can go from here. There's no world map or anything. Like, you can't leave and go out onto... Oh, there's another one there. That's interesting. I wonder what's become of the Emperor. I bet he's still out there inflicting pain and suffering. Let's just poke our head in there just to see what that is. This place. No! It can't be! Oh, that's interesting. Just as I thought. The seal! You mean Ultima exists here too? The seal I gave my life to break. But this time I will not fall. Everyone, stand back! Be funny if he died, wouldn't it? But he can't die now because he's already dead. Or is he? Minwoo! Hang on, man. I'm alright. I died once. That was my destiny. Yet this time I lived. There must be some vital reason for our presence here after all. Yes, right, look. Okay, those of you complaining about Final Fantasy VII Remake's ending and the whole sort of fate and destiny thing. This concept has been a thing in Final Fantasy since the very beginning. I'm not going to say any more about that for now because spoilers, but yes, for those of you who have had things to say about Final Fantasy VII Remake's ending, just bear that in mind. Yeah, in fact, like a core theme of the Final Fantasy series as a whole is sort of the idea of determinism and sort of being destined and fated to do things and what happens when you defy that destiny and fate and all that sort of good stuff. And like, yes, this was explored as far back as Final Fantasy II. I know this sequence here was added for the later versions of Final Fantasy II, but you can see it in the main story of Final Fantasy II as well. But that's probably a discussion for another day, isn't it? So let's just save that there, and we'll call it a day. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. Be sure to check out moegamer.net for new articles on Japanese and Japanese-inspired video games, new and old, every weekday. Every month, Moe Gamer features an in-depth exploration of an individual game or series as its cover game, so be sure to check the archives to see if your favourite has had a deep dive yet. If you'd like to support the site directly, please consider becoming a patron or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.